Hello, welcome back to Story Molder. This is Vern. I have a question for you. Some people say that we have two Independence Days, one in June and one in July. What say you? Do we have two? Face toward the sun. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is an excerpt from the Declaration of Independence. Frederick Douglass' 1852 speech entitled, "What to the Slave is the 4th of July?" positioned that the freedoms won in 1776 was not fully for everyone. He questioned how someone who is not free celebrate freedom. He made his point of hypocrisy by contrasting the principles that day represented with reality. Of course, that was in 1852, a really long time ago, before you, me, or anybody else who lived today were born. Even then, he had hopes that things would get better with time. Again, on June 19th, 1865, Union General Gordon Granger rode into Galveston, Texas, with Union soldiers, many of whom were black, armed with General Order No. 3, to inform and enforce enslaved African Americans' freedom. The Emancipation Proclamation had been signed in 1863, 2 years earlier, and the Civil War had ended when the Confederate soldiers surrendered in 1865. But there were still African Americans in bondage. Although African Americans were no longer legal property, it was a serious and still dangerous time for them. Even if they had heard of their freedom, in a time of conflict and chaos, violence and suppression made it difficult to just walk off the plantation for fear of being killed. Then you had people that were freed but had nowhere to go. On the other hand, many enslaved took advantage of the conflict and chaos and claimed their freedom by joining the Union soldiers. Surely, had they been found, it would have meant their certain demise. Therefore, in many cases, it took Union troops to enforce freedoms in areas under rebellion. Otherwise, there would not have been an impact. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. For clarity, the Emancipation Proclamation only affected enslaved African Americans in the Confederate States, with Union soldiers there to enforce it. Delaware, Maryland, and Kentucky, and some northern states that allowed slavery under certain circumstances had slaves too, but the law did not impact them because they were not Confederate states. It took the 13th, the 14th, and 15th Amendments in different stages and aspects to free all enslaved African Americans throughout the United States. This day, June 19th, is known as Juneteenth, June and 19th combined. That day, and every June 19th thereafter, there is a cause to remember and celebrate the struggle and freedom, the ideals in the Declaration of Independence. With military presence to enforce the decree, unencumbered enslaved people began to walk off the plantation. I can envision the rhetoric as old Massa called out and made promises because he could not legally retain them as slaves. "I love you. Missy loves you. The children loves you too. You can stay on and I'll pay you." With no guarantee, how many believe that promise was appealing to free men? As they walked away, face toward the sun, they might have responded, "Yes, sir." But a more promising picture is that they kept on walking, face toward the sun, hell-bent on finding and reuniting with their taken and sold loved ones. Each step toward the sun, away from the unfairness they had known, brought hope for equality, but uncertainty about their future. Whichever way they could, they claimed their freedom, with each one reaching one, each one teaching one, taking it step by step. And claiming their freedom, one phase ended and another started. Rebuilding, better known as Reconstruction, was the role of the Freedmen's Bureau that helped free African Americans with reconnecting with their families and other kinds of support, such as food, clothing, healthcare, jobs, and much more. With the push to recognize Juneteenth as a federal holiday, many people outside of Texas and the South are becoming more aware of its importance. Celebrations include fellowship with family and friends, with public speaking, workshops, community activities, eating various traditional foods, including something red. It is a tradition to bring or serve something red because it represents the blood of our ancestors or it symbolizes joy and resilience. So have a piece of red velvet cake, watermelon, or wear something red on Juneteenth. Finally, about 2 years ago in 2021, President Joe Biden signed a bill passed by Congress to set aside Juneteenth or June 19th as a federal holiday. As it grows in popularity throughout the country, this federal holiday is called Freedom Day, Emancipation Day, Jubilee Day, and yes, Second Independence Day. It brings focus to the piece of history where African Americans can look at the past, but look forward towards the future. We teach our children what actually happened in history. We honor perseverance, reflect on shared promises, reflect on shared history and traditions, and commemorate the end of slavery and the promise of freedom. Juneteenth celebrations are evolving with time, but the most important aspect of the celebration is the reflection. Although we celebrate our resilience in overcoming, we know that slavery ended, but the inequality, unfairness, oppression, suppression, and general mistreatment due to color, hair, how the larger society label us, have not. In some ways, we are still struggling to gain our freedom because the legacy of slavery continues to shape our culture. Let's remember Frederick Douglass and his works, and we all have a job to do to continue facing the sun and ensuring that the promise of liberty in the Declaration of Independence be applied equally to all Americans. In 1966, Nina Simone wrote a song that presents 4 different stereotypical Black women, characters on a timeline from slavery to today. Each woman described to herself how slavery has had a lasting impact on the way she is seen and treated in society, based on her skin color, ranging from light to dark, the texture of her hair, straight, curly, kinky, natural, what they called her, and what other women thought of her. Nina said that Black women didn't know what they wanted because they were defined by things that they couldn't control. Until they got the confidence, she said, to define themselves, they were stuck. Now, when her song was released, some banned it. They said it insulted Black women. Nina said, no, it didn't. And it told the truth that many people were not ready to acknowledge at the time. Is it still not being acknowledged? The women's ideas of beauty and their own importance are deeply influenced by those characteristics. If they were to be true to themselves, the poem tells what enters the mind of many Black women when they think about themselves. Nina presents the strong Aunt Sarah, tragic mulatto Sophronia, sensuous, sweet thing, and militant peaches. Have we overcome these stereotypes? Have we added more to the list? Think about it. For Women by Nina Simone. My skin is black. My arms are long. My hair is woolly. My back is strong. Strong enough to take the pain, inflicted again and again. What do they call me? My name is Aunt Sarah. My name is Aunt Sarah. Aunt Sarah. My skin is yellow. My hair is long. Between two worlds I do belong. My father was rich and white. He forced my mother late one night. What do they call me? My name is Sophronia. My name is Sophronia. My skin is tan. My hair is fine. My hips invite you. My mouth like wine. Whose little girl am I? Anyone who has money to buy. What do they call me? My name is Sweet Thing. My name is Sweet Thing. My skin is brown. My manner is tough. I'll kill the first mother I see. My life has been rough. I'm awfully bitter these days, 'cause my parents were slaves. What do they call me? My name is Peaches! 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 Songwriter Nina Simone. I quote W.E.B. Du Bois, Summation of Black Reconstruction. The slave went free, stood a brief moment in the sun, then moved back again toward slavery. Think about it. There's still work to be done. Face toward the sun. Thank you for stopping by to listen to my story. Come back as often as you like. I'll be happy to have you. Goodbye for now.